I'm Smithers. I'm from Ohio, and I'm getting parts and material rounded up here to build another drift trike. This will be drift trike build number 19. The first 18 I built are here local. My friends and family have them. This one's a little different. This one I'm going to ship down to Stephen Reardon in North Carolina. And this frame, I've been saving this for a while for the right adult project. It's a heavy duty old mongoose frame, and I think it'll be perfect for him. And the combination of all these parts came from at least 4 different bicycles, and they're all heavy duty parts, good parts. I just gotta make them all work together, and I think I have everything I need to build this trike. So I'm gonna get my stand set up and start building this frame. Well, I cut a piece of square tubing and welded it in the rear end here, and that'll strengthen up the back of this and also give me something to bolt my axle to. And I cleaned up the paint on the base here and made a poster board template for a piece of sheet metal I got to cut out and weld in there. I also need to make a piece that reinforces the frame right here, which is probably the weakest point on the trike. And I also need to make a piece to fill in this hole at the top and reinforce that neck. I got this sheet metal plate made. It's a pretty good fit on that. I need to weld it all the way around. Next part I made, this is an old chunk of a bicycle frame. This one goes right here. I need to weld that one on. I'll reinforce that pretty well. And then this piece up here on the neck. Well, this stuff's welded up. I like this mongoose frame because it's thick walled. I can weld with some heat. I'm gonna move on to building a rear axle. I just built this rear axle. It's a 5/8 solid round bar welded through the square tubing, and I welded on a couple angle braces too. And usually I'd weld all this up solid, but since I'm shipping this one, I need to be able to break it down a little bit. And you can see I got 3 bolts welded on, and there's just getting on the back side. I got the front end pretty much put together here. I found a good tire, good inner tube, good brake caliper and lever. I bought a new brake cable for it, and I got grips coming from eBay. I'll put that stuff on after I do the paint job. But Steven requested a downhill coaster. He didn't want a pedal wheel, so I got some foot pegs on the front. Well, I made some mounts to bolt this seat on, and I got the seat cut out and shaped. It looks pretty good on there. It's a good fit, and I cut it out of this larger chair here, and there's just 4 simple little tabs I welded on, And I also welded on these studs so I can bolt on the rear wheels. And last thing I got to weld, I kind of roughed out these circles. I need to turn them down so they're a better fit. Well, that's pretty much a complete mock-up. I'm done with all the welding and all the parts are built, so I'm going to tear this thing all the way back down and start cleaning up all the parts for primer and paint. Well, I did a final assembly. I'm pretty satisfied with everything. This is a complete build, with the exception of a couple things I'm waiting on from eBay. And I'm getting ready to break it back down and build a crate for this thing. So, Steven, when it arrives at your house, you will have to do a little bit of assembly. I'm getting ready to take this front end off the frame. I'm going to leave as much intact as possible. I'm going to leave the lever and cable intact with the handlebars, and the wheel and caliper intact with the lower fork. You'll just have to add these two components together. I do have the wheel tightened and secured on the fork. You'll just have to add these pegs on the front, and it slips on and the nut goes on the inside of the peg. And when you drop the handlebar and cable down through, the cable will come in on this side of this bolt. It'll go through an eyelet here, back up around to the caliper. And what I do is I squeeze the caliper and I open this tensioner up all the way. I pull on the cable and tighten down this nut, and then bring the tensioner back in a little bit until it's just right for the wheel to spin. Well, Steven, this is how the front end will come, and there's several bearings and bushings and stuff on this front end, so I got them kind of separated with zip ties here that you'll have to cut off, but everything's on here in the direction it needs to go. It matters which way these bearings are lying, so this dust seal and bearing will stay on the bottom. You slip it up through, drop that bearing on, then this nut you'll tighten by hand, tight enough that the front end doesn't wobble, but not so tight that it won't turn. And then there's several spacers, and then this upper nut you'll actually tighten with a crescent wrench. But these bearings do need greased, so I'll throw in a small packet of bearing grease for you, bud. As far as mounting the seat, I have these rubber bushings. They go on these tabs. You set the seat on. I have these carriage bolts with a large washer. They'll go through the top of the seat, and then lock washer and nut from underneath. Well, these are the finished wheels. It's just all thread running through, and then I use these acorn nuts on the outside. I think it looks a little nicer, and it's just simple bearings. You can get these anywhere. They're a real common bearing, and I just slip it on, and then I have this spacer. I put the spacer on. It rests against that race in the center of the bearing. Then I put on a washer, and I put this first nut on, and I tighten it just enough that the wheel spins freely. And then I add a second nut, and I take 2 wrenches, lock them together, and then the wheel won't back off. A lot of guys put inflatable tires on here. They deflate them, slip PVC over it, and then inflate it, locks it in place. And I do that too, but I prefer these with the wood in the middle. These couplings are what I use because they have that ring in the middle, and when I bolt the plywood from both sides, it locks the wheel in place. And I also like the wood. It reinforces this whole wheel. It's a whole solid wheel. If you run over a rock or something, it reinforces this plastic. And I'll show you kind of how I balance the plywood here. Well, I have found out that when it's cold out in the wintertime like this, this PVC is brittle. It'll crack and break a little bit easier than on hot summer days. It holds up really well in the summertime. Well, this rear axle actually has 5 bolts that hold it on, and it only fits on one way. You can't put it on upside down. And you put these 3 nuts on, here, and 1 up underneath. If you tighten that one underneath first, it'll suck it back that way enough that you can drop these 2 bolts down through. Oh man, I just got done building your crate. I built it as small and lightweight as possible, but this is the size it took to fit everything. And it's got a little bit of weight to it, not too bad at all though. I gotta screw this lid on yet, but as you can see, I got all your parts wrapped individually, try to protect the paint job. And I do like this Trike, man. This is the first one I haven't taken for a test ride. My hill is completely covered in cinders, so this one's coming to you with 0 miles on it. It's got some imperfections, you know, but handmade is handmade, right? And be careful, don't be getting hurt on it. There's too many people with breakdown furnaces and stuff, so enjoy it, and it's on its way, bud.
The box has arrived. Mr. Smithers has built a custom box for this package, and I wanted to be sure to include you in the unboxing. So we'll get it cracked open and show you what we've got inside. Are we ready for this? Wow. He built this thing like he didn't want me to get it apart. It's like Christmas. What do we do first? Let me grab a knife. I'll be right back. We've got a set of handlebars. This is awesome. That kind of looks like a chair, doesn't it? Got the number 19 on it for build number 19.
You gotta be slow with that stuff. You stink. You rip it too fast.
I'm excited. Alright, so we got a chair. Or a seat. Number 19. We'll get something else out first. We got a helmet. Bunch of stickers on it. Very cool. To protect the noggin. It fits me, doesn't it? Are you a Green Bay Packers fan, Smithers? Because you pack a heck of a box. We've got a fork and tire. All right. We've got a frame. That's awesome. That is a solid neck there, Smithers. That is an awesome piece of paint job, and welding is phenomenal. It might come close to the welds that I do when I do my copper. Maybe better. But that is sweet. Alright, we got another piece in the bottom. That looks something like an axle. All right. He also sent me a Nintendo DS. Smithers is the man. Dude, you are so awesome. Assembly tools, extra parts, very cool. Alright, I guess I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to put this thing together. Smithers said an idiot could put this together. We've definitely got an idiot. So. There's that. All right. It's starting to look like something.
it a drift trike yet?
Pretty much.
Pretty much doesn't cut it.
Well, besides tightening some things up, that's pretty much it. This is gonna be awesome. Alright guys, so we got her built. Got the tire aired up. We're headed that direction, and we'll try not to kill ourselves. Here goes nothing. Oh goodness. Oh, we crashed and it was awesome. Oh wow. Fun stuff.
You trying to kill yourself?
Sorry, Smithers, I'm no good at this 360 stuff. Alright, so we've got our first few runs down, and this is awesome. Wanted to throw a shout out to Smithers, say thank you so much, man. You are the best thing since sliced bread. And I guess we will see you on YouTube later down the road. Thanks again, buddy. Everybody else, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next video. Peace.